Hello and welcome to the third round of the HSBC UK Women's National Road Series. Now technically this is the most challenging and demanding of all races in this series. Now the CiCle Classic brings riders head on with off-road terrain like no other. Now so far the series has been hard fought. At the Klondike Grand Prix, it was Anna Henderson, the national circuit race champion, who crossed the line first after riding an attacking race. In round two, the peloton moved to Lincoln. At the top of the fearsome Michaelgate climb, it was Rebecca Durrell who made it 2 wins back-to-back in the race that everyone wants to win. After a fantastic race in Lincoln, this is how the series standings look. Rebecca Durrell and Jocelyn Loudon both on 54 points and Anna Henderson on 46. This year's HSBC UK National Road Series is made up of 8 races across the country. At each round, there are 30 points up for grabs for the winner. The rider with the most points at the end of the series wins the crown. It really is as simple as that. Now, Rebecca, you won this race in 2016. You've just won Lincoln. You're top of the standings. How are you feeling going into this today?
Feeling confident, looking forward to it. It's a totally different type of race today with the gravel sectors. So yeah, just excited to see what it brings.
Now, you know that this is a very technical course, so how are you going to attack it?
It is a case of just attacking it from the front. I think with this one, you've just got to be quite aggressive. There's lots of gravel sectors, it's also quite hilly. So you've just really got to get stuck in, try and make it quite an attritional race as well, and then just put the odds in our favour.
Today's is a different sort of race. A lot of things can interfere with today. We try and eliminate those by having 8 really strong riders. They're all team riders. They all ride for each other. And we've got Bex, who we know she's on the form of her life after Lincoln and the Tour Series. So hopefully we can keep her at the top of the standings today.
Eleanor, you've got really impressive set of results racing on the continent. Now, how does it feel to be back in the UK and racing in the National Road Series?
This is my first round due to going away for Nations Cups and things, so I'm really excited, and I didn't get to race this race last year because I've been ill for most of the season, so I'm really excited to give this a go and see how it ends out, really.
And you're aware of the type of course ahead of you today?
Yeah. It's going to be tough, but really exciting. My dad's raced this in the past as well, so it's nice to be able to do a race that he's done as well, which, yeah, I'm really excited.
Has he given you any tips for this one today?
He just said positioning is really important and hit all the sections hard, so.
This course is technically challenging. It covers 105 kilometres and the riders encounter off-road sections as well as normal tarmac. Starting and finishing in Melton Mowbray, the race crosses the Leicestershire countryside, taking in Somerburg, Sawgate and Ouston. In 2018, it was Nia Evans of Story Racing who won, despite crashing. The Leicestershire town of Melton Mowbray hosts a 4th edition of the Women's CiCle Classic, the 3rd round of the HSBC UK National Road Series. A quintessential vibrant market town which dates back to the Domesday Book, Melton has become renowned for its fine food and drink on offer. Its most famous produce is the Melton Mowbray pork pie, with many bakeries in the area dedicated to making this classic treat. With the winner of the race receiving a large pork pie as a prize, it's no wonder Melton Mowbray is dubbed the rural capital of food. The scene is set. Let's see what happens in today's race with our commentators.
So we're all set to go for round 3 of the HSBC UK National Road Series. We're in Melton Mowbray in Leicestershire. Who's going to get the pork pie today? The 4th edition of the CiCle Women's Classic, over 105 kilometres. It's going to be a grippy one for the riders. Not so much to do with the hills involved, but those tough roads out there, and that's going to inform the tactics for the riders.
Yeah, tough roads indeed, and it's all about positioning in this race. You know, we've got narrow roads going from wide roads into narrow roads. We've got the the off-road gravel sections. You know, riders just want to be up front. As you can see, a relaxed little mood there from the riders at the front.
Yeah, well, they're all smiling, but then you see them crowding around the race director's car through the neutralised section, as so many of the teams want to make sure that they've got riders placed as close to the front, because this tends to be a bit of an elimination race, and it's all about trying to maintain position as close to the front as possible, because you know things are going to get busy right from the get-go.
Well, race is underway now, and you can see they've gone straight onto these narrow roads. Positioning is key, and Bianca Dharma just on the front here.
Yeah, the on-form squad there are thereabouts too, and Story Racing have Eleanor Backstead close to the front as well, but they have been forced to stop the race almost before it even got underway. As the peloton comes to a grinding halt at the front, we're hearing news that as many as 20 riders, perhaps more, have come to grief behind. There's been a touch of wheels. Riders have gone down. One or two have been taken to hospital. Indeed, we're hearing that it's quite a few have gone to hospital. So that all leads to quite a lengthy delay and a little bit of a revision of the race manual as well. So we're going to reduce the length of this CiCle Classic to 70 kilometers. So that's interesting in terms of how it's going to play into the tactics. It might well bring one or two riders into it who mightn't have been so keen on 105 kilometers.
Yeah, it's certainly going to shake up the race and the result, what might be. However, I think it was the right decision to completely stop the race and neutralise it, make sure those riders are seen to, you know, and get the medical attention that they needed.
Well, absolutely, and finally the attacks are coming as this group tries to thin itself out. Laura Massey here for the Torelli team, as Tony Orell's squad puts Massey out front, trying to stretch it thin and demonstrating, I think, that it's all about trying to stay as close to the front as possible. I said it wasn't particularly hilly, but it's a really rolly day, and any of these drags offer a great opportunity.
Yeah, you can just see that camera angle really shows how steep it is, but it's the Liv AWOL squad who closed that down. Ryder just takes a little look over her shoulder, sees who's with her, but the peloton is all together.
Yeah, no one wants to persevere with this at the moment. It's about trying to maintain position while not necessarily committing too much or spending too much time on the front. But you can see that peloton has been whittled down. Quite a few riders have already been distanced in these early stages, and we've still got the rough stuff to come.
You see the pelotons are down to around 40 riders now. Jo Tinley ever present here on the front. She's just wanting to force the pace a little bit, takes a little look over her shoulder. Who can she take with her? Bianca Dharma also hot on her heels.
Jo Tinley drilling it along on the front at the moment, and you notice that there were groups still trying to get back in contention on this well, flatter section, but an opportunity for one or two at the front to take a drink. It's a real classic performance, isn't it? It's almost easier, it looks easier at the front, but it's the really strong, powerful riders that are able to maintain position up there.
Yeah, it's a type of race where actually riders go out the back as opposed to off the front. It's just a whittling down process, and it's so hard and rough, and it's all about being in the right position at the right time, and it's just so hard to move up if you're in the wrong position. Trying to move up from the back of the peloton to the front when it's all strung out and lined out, it makes it very difficult. Getting a little glimpse here of the Leah Dixon, the Welsh rider, Jo Tinley ever present.
Yeah, the series leader Bex Durrell as well to the fore as well. She's got a couple of her Tifosi brother UK teammates keeping her well escorted close to the front. That's the important thing. We hit the rough stuff and then it starts to get busy, and now it is the series leader. Bex Durrell has a handy advantage in the national standings, and indeed a couple of her closest rivals have been called away on international duty, or they're otherwise indisposed, so an opportunity for Durrell to maybe stretch her advantage in the point standings. Also starting to stretch a bit of a lead through here this rough stuff, and it is incredibly challenging.
Yeah, she's really putting the riders under pressure, but you can just see then unusually you've got mechanics at the side of the road with wheels. They're there prepared in case one of the riders punches, because team cars, they're going to be so far back, riders aren't going to be able to get any neutral service or assistance, but the riders there, you see, leaving a little bit of a gap. That's perfect for them. You know, the cyclocross riders and mountain bike riders are very, very experienced to know to leave gaps in this group.
So racing across the Sommerberg, and Durrell has been retained, but it is a relatively select group up front. We pick out Backstead among them. There's some other strong contenders, and now the heavens start to open and the weather conditions start to become a little bit torrential, and it's adding insult to injury. A lot of riders suffering out there. That's perhaps allowing one or two riders to get back into this group, as there's been a little bit of a stall at the front.
Yeah, this will also suit some of the riders who prefer this kind of terrain and the weather as well. It'll make it a little bit easier easier to take the pressure off on the rough stuff as well. But Bex Durrell just looking for some food, I think.
Yeah, trying to get the sugars in. For all that they've reduced the length of this event, it's important to get the nutrients in, because it's all action up front as they try to prevent too many riders from getting back into this group. The weather conditions a little bit choice to say the least, but great to see Team Eldiana represented up front, and now the attacks begin again.
Anna Kay there, just great tactic there, attacking out of that corner, taking everyone by surprise, and she's opened up a gap already. It's Bex Durrell in third wheel trying to close that gap, but Anna Kay, she's a cyclocross rider. She's very used to these treacherous conditions on this type of terrain. Yeah, and you can just see we've got a group of 4 going away now.
Anna Kay is absolutely loving it out there. It's a dangerous one, and the Brother UK Tifosi squad have covered it with Durrell. She's got a teammate there for company as the group starts to grow in size a little bit. That attack not working out, but these attacks are constant, and they are having an effect on the energy stores that are depleting amongst many of the riders. Fourth edition of the Women's CiCle Classic continues as the riders now make their way back around and going the reverse way across this climb in this pretty sticky section. The lead group up front has swelled in size once more, but remember there were 120 riders on the initial start list, so it's very much a select group up front.
Well, Declan, you can just see the terrain that the riders are having to contend with here. There's holes, there's mud, there's gravel. As you go through these trees now, it gets really muddy. Riders are going to have to really pick their line.
Charging down this descent now, and they're trying to make it as quick as possible, as fast as possible. It's the Brother UK Tifosi squad with Illy Gardner on the front, doing a great marshalling job on behalf of the series leader Bex Durrell. Sitting in her wheel, Jo Tindley is maintaining a watching brief. She stayed close to the front all afternoon. She wants to be involved in everything, and it's once more a relatively small group that are contesting this in the latter stages of the 4th edition of the CiCle Women's Classic.
Well, I know Jo Tindley's really done her homework into this race, and it's something that it really suits her, this type of course and this type of terrain. She does a bit of cyclocross in the winter, so she's used to it. She's confident, she's an experienced bike rider, and yeah, you can just see she's ever present at the front. She's always in the right position, patrolling the front of the peloton.
So it's a bit of a headache, isn't it? Because the Tifosi, the Brother UK squad have got the riders on the front and making sure that they keep it as fast as possible. A little bit of a stall, perhaps offering an opportunity for an attack from the Bianca Dama squad. Maybe just a chance to roll off the front, but everybody's feeling the effects of what's been a pretty bruising encounter. They've really been pushing hard out there for quite a while. Yeah,
despite the distance being shortened, it's been a fast, hard race so far. You know, we've seen, you know, very high average speed, so, you know, it's going to take the toll on the riders. You could just see a few riders just a minute ago taking some gels, taking some food on board, and just replenishing as they go towards the finish.
Bianca Dama well represented up front, as they have been throughout the afternoon. The Brother UK Tifosi squad have several riders in the group, Story Racing in there as well, and Cycle Team On Form as well have got a couple of riders that have made it into this selection. So how are they going to play it tactically as we come down towards the busy end and the important end of this race?
See young Eleanor Backstead of Story Racing on the left-hand side with the blue and red shoulders. She's having a great ride. She's only a junior, don't forget, so it's very impressive to see her up here as we see another attack now go on this steep climb. It looks like the rider from RFDA, Abby Smith, just go. She's a junior as well, so it's very impressive to see these young riders really giving it to the seniors.
Yeah, still in there and willing to have a go, and that is fresh attitude, isn't it? And great to see. It's a narrow advantage, and some of the other teams want to make sure that they stay involved in this one. They're really drilling it to get across. You can see what a stinging attack this has been from a young rider still under 19, and has a little anxious look over her shoulder to see what sort of damage she's done. Damage has been well, significant in as much as it's really caused a little bit of a frantic increase in the pace behind.
As you see now, a rider just trying to come across and bridge. It looks like the rider from Liv AWOL. She's kind of in no man's land. She either needs to make the junction or go back into the peloton. And you see the peloton's actually whistled down quite significantly now.
Yeah, Abby Smith needed a little bit of help there. Doesn't look like she's going to get it. The peloton is in one long line, but unfortunately for her, it looks as if that junior rider has been retained. She's still involved though, And still up front as there's a little bit of a stall up front. Where's the next attack going to come from? It's inevitably, perhaps it is the Brother UK Tifosi squad on the attack, and this is a pretty good way to organise a defence, isn't it? Put a rider up the road.
Yeah, this is the best form of attack. They've got strength in numbers in that group. They've got the largest amount of riders in that group. So just try something. Force the other riders to chase it back. The Vela Performance team or Story Racing, they have to chase it back. So it's they're on a win-win situation here.
So rider clear with a narrow advantage, just trying to make it as difficult as possible. Looks like Gardner has gone clear once more. And is this one going to last? She too, I suspect, could really do with a little bit of assistance from someone else.
With Brother UK Tifosi being so active, it does take the pressure off the series leader Bex Durrell, but it's not really worked out for Gardner here, and she has been retained by the peloton.
Meanwhile, Durrell sits nicely placed, about fourth in line, just moves across to the centre of the road to cover the next attack. Inevitably, perhaps it's coming from Bianca Dama. They've been very active, haven't they? The white jersey of Bex Durrell is picking up the wheels, sitting in fifth in line here, as this is a pretty serious, searing attack. Is it going to have any effect?
You see how strong this is. Emma Cockcroft on the front here for Bianchi Dama. So strong, former rower here. And we've seen her have some good rides in the past in these the HSBC UK series. Looks like she's taking a Lafite rider with her and Annabelle Simpson. So another rider from Brother UK Tifosi, just ever active. Looks like Gina Ricciardo from the Lafite team. But once again, the attacks haven't worked out. It's just, no one's letting anyone have any daylight.
They barely got a few metres advantage, but inevitably it's Bianca Dama once more trying to cover the next opportunity. CiCle team on form put their riders close to the front. Got one rider up there, and of course inevitably it's the Brother UK Tifosi squad. 3 in line. Bex Durrell sitting close to the front as well. It's a relatively small and select group, so I suppose if you've got the numbers in there, it's easier to control it.
Yeah, definitely. But these riders also need to start talking to each other. What are they going to do? What are they going to do into the finish? What's the game plan? When you have got strength in numbers, play to your strengths. Either do a big lead out and try and force the pace and kind of drop riders on the hard terrain, or kind of wait back, sit back and throw attacks and 1-2 it.
It's all about communication out there. It's all about at least one of the riders taking control, making decisions, and making decisions for the rest of the bunch as well. As Laura Massey has a little look around, looks over both shoulders to see what's happening behind her. And there's not a whole lot at the moment. It's all getting a little bit nervous, and you're in that moment just before we get to the really important final kilometres into this final moments of the CiCle Women's Classic.
Gabby Shaw's done her job now. Now it's Leah Dixon who takes it up at the front. We're into the final 3 kilometres now. Laura Massey straight onto the wheel of Leah Dixon. This is when the riders need to start preparing their lead outs, preparing who they're going to sprint for.
Well, clearly Brother UK Tifosi are going to try and set a tempo that discourages too many attacks, but 1 or 2 riders in there will have other ideas. You'll be quite sure about it. Down to the final 3 kilometres of the 3rd round of the HSBC UK National Road Series, and who is going to follow Nia Evans as the winner of the CiCle Classic. Katie Archibald also the winner, and in 2017, and the inaugural CiCle Classic going to Julie Erskine back in 2016. So it hasn't got a very long history, but it certainly has established itself as one of the most important events in the British cycling calendar.
Team LDN now just gathering themselves up towards the front of this peloton as we see another attack now. This is going to be the final attack we see from Brother UK Tifosi. They're stringing it out with Ellie Gardner, it looks like, again, with boom pods on her wheel. Is this going to stay away? Is the peloton going to chase them?
Well, it's nicely timed, and again, attack is the best form of defence for the Brother UK Tifosi squad. Boom pods along for company, but that one is being knitted back together again. Almost inevitably, the other squads just about have the numbers to defend this one. So it seems at this point as if we're going to come down to an inevitable group sprint, albeit from a much reduced group.
And it is a technical final, don't forget. We've got a left-hand turn coming up, and then it's a technical finish through the barriers. But it's Brother UK Tifosi who are leading this one out now. Looks like Annabelle Simpson with Bex Durrell on her wheel.
Got to try and make it as fast as possible. Got to stretch that group thin, because this one narrows down as we switch from one side to the other. A little bit of road furniture there, and as we make the left-hander coming into the barriers and into the closing straight, riders down behind, riders down, and that has caused a significant split in this group. So we're going to have a sprint from a further reduced group through to the finish line as they charge into the final couple of 100 metres. Bex Durrell is in fine position to extend her lead, but is she going to be able to hold off the others as Emily Nelson comes with a run on the left-hand side of your picture? Emily Nelson for RST Cycle Division Racing Team gets her arms in the air. She takes round 3 of the National Road Series. So Emily Nelson gets the win ahead of Bex Durrell and Lizzie Bennett. Joe Tinley, Sophie Lewis, King, Simpson and the rest. No stopping Emily Nelson.
Emily, that was a challenging race by all accounts today.
Yeah, it was really tough. I mean, the off-road sections, and then it started raining, and it was just a matter of staying near the front and just hoping I got to the finish line. So
now, you had the break for about an hour and a half. How difficult was it to get back going in the race after that?
I mean, it was quite tough, to be honest, but it was the same for everybody, and at the end of the day, it's riders' health comes first. So my little sister was in the crash, so for me, I was kind of okay with it being stopped. You know, I wanted all those riders to have the medical attention they needed, and I mean, bike racing comes second to people's health, doesn't it? So
it must have been tough knowing that your sister was, you know, could potentially be quite injured.
Yeah. I mean, everyone was saying that people were really hurt, and so at the end, I managed to borrow a phone and ring my mom. So she's absolutely fine. She's up and walking. So yeah, that was a little bit stressful, but tried to put that in the back of my mind.
Now, how did you tackle the ever-changing terrain?
I mean, to be honest, I'm a track rider, so I ride a lot on the indoor velodrome. So for me, it was just about staying near the front, following wheels that I knew were good. So I knew there was quite a few good off-roaders, so I tried to sit behind them through the off-road sectors, so I had the best wheel, really.
Quite an unbelievable race today, really.
Oh, I'm so happy. I raced it last year and I punctured, so I didn't actually finish, and I really, really wanted to finish this race. So to actually win, I'm so happy, yeah.
Let's take a look at the individual standings then. It's Rebecca Durrell who maintains the lead at this stage. And leading the team standings after the CiCle Classic, it's Team On Form at the top of the table. Congratulations to Emily Nelson on taking that win today. What a gruelling race that's been here at the CiCle Classic in Melton Mowbray. Now, we want to wish all of the riders that were injured today a speedy recovery. Now, the next round is on the 22nd and 23rd of June. That's at the Alexander Tour of the Reservoir. If you can't join us roadside, make sure you join us for all of the highlights, and follow the HSBC UK Women's National Road Series by visiting britishcycling.org.uk with the hashtag National Road Series. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.